OpenAI, the world's most valuable AI startup, has lost another chief executive. Chief Technology Officer Mira Murati is one of more than 20 key staff who've departed this year, leaving CEO Sam Altman with just one of his fellow co-founders. Is it a real problem or just growing pains? Let's ask technology editor Peter O'Brien. Peter, OpenAI are currently trying to raise a lot of money, so surely this can't look good for investors.
Hi, Karis. Well, you're right. OpenAI, at the moment, they're trying to get about $6.5 billion US from investors, hoping to close that round by the end of next week. That would value them at $150 billion US. And I think let's just start off by putting that into context, because it's a tall order what they're asking for. That would almost double their value. It would also put them just not too far behind something like SpaceX, which has launched about 95 rockets into space this year. And, you know, obviously in third place behind the ByteDance, which owns TikTok, which has 1 billion monthly active users worldwide. So yes, they're wanting to be really, really one of the three big startups in the world. And it doesn't exactly inspire confidence that there have been all of these departures from OpenAI. But we've also seen further reports this week that OpenAI is looking to restructure into a for-profit with a non-profit arm, changing from its current format, which is a non-profit with a rather large for-profit arm. What does this mean? This really means that investors are probably going to start thinking, actually, they are more interested in my return on investment than their current very nebulous goal of trying to create an AI for all of humanity, which is smarter than humanity, but which is also safe and beneficial, right? The investors want a return eventually, and a shift to a for-profit structure would give some confidence in that. Two provisos here, though. In Italy this week, Sam Altman said that the departures from his startup had nothing to do with a speculated restructuring. There's also the fact that OpenAI is reportedly looking at becoming another kind of structure, which is a public benefit corporation. That's something like its rivals XAI or Anthropic. This would require it to still have a kind of social good aspect to it, although when the chips are down, how much of this kind of social good pledge matters to these public benefit corporations is unclear.
So if there is a restructuring, Altman could get a significant payday.
He absolutely could. Bloomberg is reporting that he could get up to 7% equity. That's the first time he'll actually own part of OpenAI. I think it's interesting to look at what he's said in the past about why he doesn't own equity. He's said that he doesn't need the money. He's not wrong. He is a billionaire serial entrepreneur in his own right. But he's also said that OpenAI needs what's called disinterested directors to be making sure it stays on the straight and narrow while it pursues its goals for a safe AI. Now, I'm not sure how disinterested you can be if there is the promise, even in the future, of having billions of dollars worth of equity. But that's that. He's also joked, I think quite tellingly, that he should have got equity to just avoid questions being asked by journalists about why haven't you got equity. Well, if he eventually does get it, he'll have to face just another kind of question, which is, why have you now got it when you said it was for ethical reasons that you didn't have it in the past?
And the upheaval at OpenAI has been going on for almost a year. Take us a look through back then at what's been going on and who's left.
I'll try my best for you. In last November, we had something called the blip by employees of OpenAI. Sam Altman was briefly, for a matter of days, ousted by the board, which at the time was reportedly concerned that OpenAI was focusing more on shipping products as fast as possible and less on AI safety research. This only lasted a matter of a few days because Altman was able to stage a kind of counter coup, if you like, with the help of his of OpenAI employees. He came back. Co-founder Ilya Sutskever apologized for trying to get rid of Altman. He then went silent but stepped down in May, as did Jan Leica, who also led the AI safety team with Sutskever. He swiftly followed. He's now at Anthropic. Sutskever, meanwhile, has founded his own startup called Safe Superintelligence, announcing this month that he's raised $1 billion to do so. In August, the co-founder and president, Greg Brockman, announced that he'd be taking a sabbatical until the end of this year. It's unclear where he's at or what he's doing. Another co-founder, John Schulman, left for Anthropic. And finally, we got Wednesday's news, Mira Murati leaving. She was actually appointed interim CEO while Altman was in his brief period of being ousted. She, along with Chief Research Officer Bob McGrew and Barrett Zoff, another top researcher, this week all said they'd be leaving.
And what about the product itself? Has the upheaval had any impact on what OpenAI is actually producing?
Yeah, it's difficult to say. What we can say is that it's a mixed picture product-wise. They faced a lot of delays with a lot of key things. For instance, their large language model, the latest generation of it, GPT-5, that's hit major delays. So has their text-to-video model, Sora, their speech generation, latest generation of their speech assistant has finally started rolling out this week, although that had delays as well. And other startups are now catching up and offering similar products that can do similarly well. Costs are high. We know that OpenAI is losing billions of dollars a year. Elsewhere, though, there is growth. They've hired more than almost 1,000 people since last November. Their annualized revenue has also about tripled in that time. So how do we understand this? I think one way to understand it is to look at what Altman said yesterday when he was reacting to the departure of Murati. He said that it was so abrupt because we're not a normal company. I think that's quite telling. I think if you look at all of these changes, the departure of staff, the new board that's come in, some of the business going well, other parts not, we can say that maybe it's trying to become a more normal company and appeal to investors.